Hello, welcome to Tabletop CP and After Dark Paint and Chat. And we're just put our game off till tomorrow, so we figured we'd do something today. We haven't done one of these in a little while, so it's just a general gaming chat. If you guys have any questions for us or anything you would like to ask that you've never asked before, Andre will be joining us tonight. So I know you guys have some questions for him. So otherwise, yeah, Greg's going to be joining us as well, and we're just going to be BSing about gaming. So let's bring in Greg and Andre here. So there's Greg and Andre. So everyone's favorite tabletop CP character, Andre.
Yes, sir.
Is the Rebel Yell. You did the Rebel Yell very well last week.
Loved it.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to disturb the entire household by letting one out here.
Yeah.
It's probably annoyed your neighbors enough as it was.
Yeah. Well, it can't be any worse than the mariachi band that plays over, behind the house over here. So yeah. So what have you guys been up to? Greg, I know you've been building some stuff. I got some pictures here that I will bring up of what you sent me. And the first one was a whole pile of stuff.
Oh, like yeah.
Wonder.
Yeah.
Pirates, right?
Yeah. So this is the latest Kickstarter from Firelock Games called Raise the Black, and it's focused around the 18th century of pirates. So, their other rule systems covered the 17th century, which had your other type of pirates, Captain Morgan and all them guys. This one now is what they call the Golden Age, and they have what you see on the box art, Blackbeard, Charles Vane, and, just all those guys that you probably saw on that HBO or Cinemax series, Black Sails, all those guys, and then some. Probably people you never heard of. But yeah, this is really good. It came out right at the beginning of COVID, which really put a damper on everything, as you can imagine, it like everything else in the world, because it was supposed to be released later on, I believe that year, and then with everything backed up from a lot of this stuff is outsourced to make, and then it was supposed to be released last year, and that didn't happen. And so with everything now realigned and they have everything going, this is the latest Kickstarter. This is the pledge level for this was the Pirate Hunter, I believe. And then I paid extra for the cool black book on the bottom right. That's like a collector's book, which has the main rules and then the latest edition of Raise the Black, and a couple odds and ends. The two big black boxes underneath on the right there are two plastic model ships. Everything's plastic now. All their things went from resin and lead to plastic. So we'll see how that goes. But it should be fun. I mean, it has all the new nuances for the 18th century.
Yeah, so that's part of that period we were talking about off camera. We're missing from year 1 to year 1812, all the history in there. So I'm not sure. That's probably 1700s, late 1700s, early.
I think this takes you right from 1700s. So at the beginning of kind of right around the War of Spanish Succession. So Blackbeard was killed, by Lieutenant Mader in Ocracoke Inlet on November 22nd, 1718. That's my birthday. But it's just one of those things. He was like the most infamous, notorious, and everything else. But they cover other characters, unless you read books and stuff like that. You probably won't know about. But what's really good, and we were talking about that. Hey, there's not enough American gaming stuff. Well, this takes all in the Caribbean, so it's in the Americas, and there's also a lot of pirate action happened up and down the eastern seaboard all the way up into Canada, and they covered coming close into the French and Indian War. So you're talking your 1740s and 50s and stuff like that. So which is really good because that opens up the whole period of the tricorn period and what have you. So
cool. Yeah, and then let's see here. Then you sent one other picture that I have, and that looks like a building, some kind of Soviet building, Soviet house.
Yeah, so This one here is from Things from the Basement. And it's a really interesting model. It's definitely way a lot different than the Sarissa. And you can see a little bit of the Sarissas on the right there, the gray ones. Um, so they're interesting to build. What I like about them is there's like really no seams on the corners, where your traditional Sarissa has all those notches and they kind of look gaudy. Um, but this is really neat. The roof comes off, and so I'm starting a whole Soviet village for World War II, town village.
Always a good thing to have. So let's take a look at our chat, see if we got anyone here yet. So, yep, we got E4 Airman, one of our most loyal live stream viewers. It says, "Hey, all, Coldwet, Ohio." Sounds lovely. Stotzenberg here, one of our patrons. Travis, you are very out of focus. Am I? Do I look blurry to you guys? Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
I look not out of focus to me, but I don't know what I can do to change that. Hold on a second here.
We can hear you clearly, though.
It's like your camera resolution's way off.
Huh. So it's just low resolution, not necessarily blurry.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're out of focus so much as more pixelated.
Really? Man. Okay, I don't know why that is.
Try the overhead camera.
I don't have it hooked up at the moment. It would just show a bunch of AWI stuff. So, well, all right. Sorry about that, guys. Water on the... I don't know. I look fine to myself in my camera when I look on the screen. It's you guys that look blurry. Maybe we're all blurry. Man, that's not good. Someone should have said something. Let me blurry, huh? I don't know. I look crystal clear to myself, but
could be your internet.
Maybe it's quite possible.
Just don't move rapidly.
I won't move. I won't move at all. Okay. Where Dan Bunman's here. Hello, Dan. Thanks for stopping by. And we got Simon Doran as well. The conversational painter. Hey, sounds like a perfect job. Perfect guy for a live stream. So I always love your table layouts, especially Spectre. Thank you. That's something we're going to be playing here pretty soon. Chris Valentine said, still waiting on mine. I'm assuming he's talking about the Blood and Plunder live stream or Kickstarter we were talking about. Ron Stokes is here as well. Hello, Ron. Yes, blurry. Okay, well, I don't know what I can do about that at this point. So I guess I'll just be blurry. No one wants to see the Niners shirt anyway. Oh, yeah?
Jesus.
It must not be that blurry. Yeah, Stotzenberg's the Eagles fan. So those two might be clashing in the playoffs at some point. It's like watching Thursday Night Football on Amazon with the blurry picture. It's not that bad. So anyway, yeah, so I don't have a topic for tonight, but I am going to try to do some painting. So this is called a paint and chat. The past we've done this, I haven't painted anything, but I am going to try to paint some stuff this time. So I don't have any pictures of what I'm doing, but I'll show a blurry picture of what I worked on. And that I built this truck, this Winter American truck. So we'll be using this in our bolt action game tomorrow. Be back in the Battle of the Bulge tomorrow. Steve versus Andre. Steve was complaining about not having any transports the last time he played Andre. And so I built the truck, and I'm going to be working on this half track during the live stream. So Steve will have 2 transports, so you cannot complain about not having transports anymore. And he can't use that as an excuse why Andre beats him tomorrow. So we'll see though. Half tracks are not optimal. Yeah, so McInnes is here. Oh shit, McInnes sent me some pictures too, and damn it. Well, I'll explain that when I get to it, but
I think the first half tracks, or the first tank destroyers, were half tracks.
yeah, they
They'll
just
mount
had
those
the
big. They'll mount like a Kelly's Heroes cannon on the back of one of them suckers, and
yep,
they would just be standoff weapons and just blow the shit
yeah,
out, and then they
they
just
had
pull off.
they had the they had AT guns on them. They put howitzers on them. They had a 105 on them even.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was that was kind of the stopgap at the start of the war before they started making actual tank destroyers off of the Sherman chassis
yeah.
and started making some dedicated ones as well. So Robert said howdy, and Simon said got to have transports. I just finished the WC-51 and 62. Yes, transports are essentials, especially with machine guns on them. So yeah. So what are you up to, Andre? I know you're not doing any hobbying, but are you getting ready for the bolt action game tomorrow? You remember what we're playing?
Yeah, just trying to figure out what to do for the next couple of weeks. We
We're supposed to
might
get
have
some
to
extra
get some extra
gaming in.
games in.
Yes, for sure. We have to get some extra games in. We'll do some sharp practice. We'll do some Spectre for sure. It's gonna have to happen. We haven't played that for a while. So Fred Stevens is here, another one of our patrons, as well as McInnes and Stotzenberg and Padilla. So anyway, yeah. So I didn't have a topic for this. I was thinking about doing a year in review, but we didn't really know. We can't separate the years, Andre and I, very well. I know that we played a lot of bolt action. We played a lot of chain of command. That's something that we've always played. Sharp practice, Spectre. New game wise, the only game Andre and I played together that was new this year that I can think of is the 0200 hours game. What did you think of that game, Andre?
What's so funny, Greg?
You guys' first game, and them damn SAS came in there and whooped some ass. It just seems so unbalanced, you know.
It does.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like the wrap up at the time. It's it's a cool game. It's a lot of fun if you're the one that gets to make decisions, but it almost feels like it's more of a one person like a solo play thing, which I think it would work pretty well. But yeah, you're really limited when you're on defense. There a lot of times aren't any decisions you get to make, and you're just kind of hamstrung there.
Yeah, that game to me, when just watching it as a spectator like everybody else, it just seems that in the end, the designers, okay, cool, you made a game, but it looks like, for me, it looks like it was it might have been a great video game with an awesome AI, and you're just in there doing your thing, but sometimes some of that things just can't translate right onto the tabletop, and then all the damn markers, you know me, with markers and chits and everything everywhere. I just think that just takes away from the cool scenery that Travis sets up, and it's like, oh my god, here we go.
I mean, I agree. It's a hard premise to try to pull off on the tabletop to begin with, a stealth game, because the whole idea is stealth, that you don't know where people are, but when you're standing over the table looking at it, you see where they are. So you have to try to simulate you not being able to see them, which is hard with everything on the table. So the only way to really do it is to handicap the person who is not supposed to know that the enemy is there, I think.
Yeah.
And they did a pretty decent job at it, trying to pull that off, I think. But it is frustrating to play it as the Germans. I think one of the things, the problem that I had was that it was, you must do something. Like if they would allow you just to stand still and not do anything, that would be like a huge difference.
Yeah.
Or maybe give you an option, like, okay, if you're 4+, you can stay. If not, you have to do something. But always just wandering off, it's like, okay, I mean, it makes it hard. At least let me have a chance to stand still and watch this area for when the SAS appear, and then maybe I can react. But it is frustrating a little bit to be the Germans in that one.
Yeah, we've played some games where you're right. Like we talked about that. How do you sneak on the game table? And there's a couple of solutions out there I think are pretty effective. And I know we've tried. I'll do a rough sketch of the table, and here's a map, and here's your distance, kind of to scale. When you're moving, and once you figure out, okay, if I'm in so many X amount of inches to the sentry, then we got to roll for visibility, as opposed to, okay, oh, here comes everybody coming on from the east side. But Chain of Command, I don't know if you remember that website, Wargaming with the Silver Whistle, that guy over there.
No.
Yeah, that's a really good website, and it's very inspiring for terrain and painting figures and all kinds of stuff. But he did a game where similar with the SAS coming up off the beachhead and approaching German sentries on the bunker, and you had to destroy, but whatever the mission was. But it was really good because he had developed some rules to work with Chain of Command where the sentry's moving. And that it worked out really well where I painted similar to what you have. I have a couple of like the gendarmerie or whatever the Polizei guys, whatever the German police, walking with their dogs and patrolling and everything else. And that worked out really well. And like I said, or do a map. I mean, you and Andre know each other for a long time, and no one's going to cheat each other. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, okay, here we go. And then every so often, someone could show the map to the camera. Ha ha, this is where I'm at. Travis is sitting on his ass in the back or whatever,
Yeah.
But, and then all of a sudden, when you get within a certain range, it's like, ta-da, surprise, like it would be.
But for a YouTube channel video battle report, that would not be very compelling, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's the map, okay, and then here's Andre moving his guys along 6 inches. It'd be hard to film that.
Yeah. Well, he would just have to just put up to the camera every so often, bloop 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 bloop, just like you do with the cowboy game with your cards. Here's my cards.
Yeah. There's ways to do it. I think they did a decent job doing on it. But like Andre was saying in the game, it could totally easily be a solo game. The Germans can run themselves because they're mostly all random. So really, there's not any reason to have a second player, I don't think, because I mean there is some decisions they make once the action starts. Mm-hmm. But as you're building up and the alarm levels are building up, they don't do much. They're just kind of wandering around and
maybe a co-op. Maybe it was really designed as a co-op. You and Andre go in, take a
co-op against AI.
Yeah. And then
I think stealth could be done pretty well with a third party. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Third parties are great in games, especially like Chain of Command with the some of the Chain of Command campaigns. You pretty much have to have one, like that 29 Let's Go campaign, that first mission in that one where they have the 88s covering the field, and it's like I have to tell Andre as the Germans, or as he's the Americans, like, hey, don't, in this field I have 88s, and he's like going around the field. It's like, he's not supposed to know that though.
Yeah.
But so like the Chain of Command you and Steve were playing where I was umping, that had some off table. So Steve was showing me where his units were coming in and moving through the forest that you had no idea about. So we actually were able to do some of that with the third person. It just simplifies the whole process a ton.
Yeah, it's great if you can find a third party. A lot of these pint-sized campaigns are better with a third party. A lot of them have things that maybe one player is not supposed to know. So having umpires is great, and in the stealth game it would definitely be helpful. Someone said, has anyone, or McKenna said, anyone else notice Andre stays grinning? I did not notice that.
Only when I'm amused.
Amused now. We were talking about the his favorite game. Oh man! So I was going to do a paint, and I forgot to bring the white paint, which means I can do no more. Because I got to do the dry brush of white on this to give it the frost effect, but I don't have my white paint. So much for that idea. I guess I could add the chipping.
Oh, here you go, man. Just zip down here to Tucson. I'll hook you up.
Thanks. So yeah, we don't have Andre. Well, this is the first time Andre's been on a live stream with us. So let's ask Andre some questions.
There you go.
I put a thick call out for questions, but this is kind of a late, unannounced, not very well promoted live stream, kind of last minute. So we didn't get any questions. So I'll ask the questions. Andre, what is your favorite game that we play? Just right out of the gate.
I'm gonna say Chain of Command just off the top of my head. It's a solid go-to. It's almost always a really good time. Like the way the rules play out, like the strategy. Yeah, it looks cool and it makes sense. There's not a lot of fabricated, it just mostly makes sense. And I'm kind of trying to think number two or one of the one-off games, 7TV. We had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, we haven't played that one.
Remember that being a fun game.
And Pulp Alley was very fun too. I think that's a game we should play more. It's that one. We're kind of looking for new games. 7TV is a great, or 7TV and Pulp Alley are very similar genres. I think 7TV has got a lot. I think it has a lot more tokens, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Pulp Alley is very fun. We're going to expand in 2023. We're going to start trying some different games. So there's more life than Lardy games and bolt action. I found out.
Yeah.
I found out there's a whole series of games called the Rampant series. Lion Rampant, Dragon Rampant, Xenos Rampant, probably some other Rampants as well. So I bought one of those just to try out. So we're going to be trying that out here pretty soon. So Andre's favorite game is Chain of Command. He does have a difficult time though when the models are the same, bolt action, Chain of Command. So it takes him a few phases to realize what game we're playing. I'll have to explain to him before the game starts. He'll ask, is this the one where you move 6 inches? Or is this the one where you can shoot unlimited?
Yeah. And I still get screwed up mid-game.
You do. But it never seems to hurt. I mean, I don't think I beat you in a game in like 2 months. So
I've been on a streak, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny because earlier this year there was a streak where I was beating you for like 2 straight months.
I think it was more like 3 or 4, but yeah.
It's very weird how that happens. I mean, like even that game last week with that that sharp practice game with the Rebel Yell at the very end, where you charged and took me out at the very last second. Yeah, that was
loved it.
That was a great game. Yeah, my favorite game is Sharp Practice. I think we've just never had a bad game of Sharp Practice. We've had bad games of Chain of Command before, where they don't work out very well for one person, or the double phases start stacking up. Next thing you know, it's like, okay, I can't do anything. But Sharp Practice, I don't think we've ever had a bad game of Sharp Practice. Let's see, we got a question for Andre. Andre, what is your favorite nation to play? Oh, I know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
I would probably say the British, just because that's the army that I really started with after we got out of Flames of War. That's the army I built up, so I pretty much was exclusively bringing the Brits up against whatever Travis was putting on the table. And yeah, it's a lot of that was just the familiarity and knowing the Army, knowing what they could do, and that plays into another. I thought I saw somebody asking what my favorite unit was, and yeah, the 2-inch mortar in
Yes. Chain of command.
Yes, sir.
yeah. Having that line of sight block and smoke, being able to just shut down that heavy machine gun or the howitzer with some well placed smoke, and being able to move up the board quickly. It just makes such a huge difference in maneuverability and opens up a lot of possibilities that your opponent really has to scramble to work around. And it's just, it's such, I think I like the fact that it's just such a small,
2-inch.
it's not a powerful unit, but it, just the way it plays out in the game, it's such a powerful tool that, it's your opponent really has to, I'm assuming, Travis, that you actually have to, work around me bringing 1 or 2 2-inch mortars.
Yeah, I mean, if I know I'm playing the British, it's like there's not really any point for me to bring an AT gun or some kind of it's just going to get blocked. That's just the way it is. So, if I'm playing the British, I'll usually just bring more infantry or some kind of off-table asset like a barrage or something, because there's no point in bringing a Pac 40 or some nice AT gun or howitzer if it's just going to be blocked by like a 2-point support unit for their whole game. But as Greg always says, you live by the smoke, die by the smoke. You start depending on it, and then suddenly your opponent gets that chain of command dice, and it's gone.
Yeah, it really sucks when you make your big move because you're invisible, and all of a sudden it's like, why are we standing out in the middle of an open field?
Yeah, there's a gust of wind. It just blew everything away.
Or especially
Whose
when you
idea
don't get
was this?
Yeah, especially when you don't get ones. How many games have you guys played? And you're like, damn, I wish I could get a 1 to bring out a team.
All the time.
Like the team.
Yeah.
The team that's gonna help you do everything else that you want to do, especially like the mortar team for the Brits. That's pretty critical. That's an essential thing. And if it's just not happening, then it's like, well, shit. Now I got to come up with another plan. I got a ton of 3s, but no 1s.
Yeah, but once you do get the 1, then your senior leader can take over and
Yeah,
keep them firing. But yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying to face the 2-inch mortar, and then it's only like 2 points. So Andre always brings a second one. So pretty soon the
One's
whole
good, two's better.
2 is better. Another one of Andre's famous quotes is, "Why bring a medium mortar when you can bring a heavy mortar?" Right?
Well, yeah, that was bold action, wasn't it?
Yes, that was a bolt action thing for sure.
So that was another one of my very favorite setups. For a while, Travis was letting me design my own armies and bring them, and we'd go up against each other. And
Well, I could let you design your own still if you want, Andre. It's not like I took the power away from you. It's just I just been doing it. If you want to do it, feel free. I've added so many things that I don't know if you remember everything that we have anymore.
It wasn't a complaint, but I would tend to try and maximize the
Andre would
advantage from a gaming perspective rather than any kind of a historical or sensical.
Andre was what is now called a competitive gamer. He would build competitive lists before it was cool.
I was very, very much about the competitive aspect when we first started, much more so than I am now.
I think one of the reasons that I started building the list was after the game. You brought the heavy howitzers and the heavy mortars.
That's exactly what I was referring to. That like one game.
Didn't you bring 2 heavy mortars and 2 howitzers?
Yep.
In the same game on a dual platoon list.
And
it was a mess.
Deployed them on different corners of the long edge and had you in a crossfire. And your comment was, well, I can't move and I can't sit still. Screw this.
Yeah, I can't move because the howitzers are on ambush and they'll just blast me to hell, or I can't sit still because the heavy mortars are ranging in on me. So it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Maybe that was the last time you made your own list.
It was quite a list.
It was. So Tyson said, question for Travis and Andre: preferred off-table asset. Off-table. I'll let Andre go first on that one.
Oh, help me out with the
Chain
question
of
here.
command.
So that's the
Off-table asset and chain of command. So like mortar battery, off-table machine guns, Stukas.
I was gonna say it's got to be the Stuka, right? I
Stuka is
love it
very
when
good.
Travis brings the Stuka.
Stuka is amazing, or it can be. I mean, we've had it just dominate, and then we've had it do nothing. It's kind of like everything in chain of command. It's
Well, and
sometimes
that's like any off-table asset. Honestly, I think my favorite is the machine gun. Or am I?
the
Is that the
off-table
right
machine
game?
gun. Yeah, that's in the
Yeah.
1940 supplement. Yeah.
We don't do it very often. One of the reasons is it's fairly easy to neutralize if somebody's got smoke.
Right.
But I think we house ruled that, didn't we? Because it was one
I
of
don't.
those where it would just come in from behind, and it was just devastating because there was no way you could really plan for it or
Yeah,
deal with it.
I think
You
we
were
house
just
ruled
getting
it to say that you can't put it like beyond the jump off pointers, because there was a game where we played where we could have put it in a spot where it would just have totally dominated the other
oh
guy.
it I don't remember which of us did it, but I'm pretty sure it happened.
Well, I think we
And
talked about it and agreed not to do it or something because it was just going to be like, wait a minute, I got this machine gun
yeah,
behind you.
I don't remember for sure, but yeah, rules as written. That thing is just way too powerful, or
Yeah.
it can be,
Doesn't it
and
use
it's
5
just
though to activate, or
it's too hard to play around. I think it was 4.
I can't remember. I think
I
my
think the only
favorite.
downside was activating it was a little tricky.
Yeah, I
I
thought
think
it
that
took a
Oh yeah, it takes a
certain die
5.
roll. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it does.
yeah.
I think my favorite. I mean, I like the pregame barrage. It's excellent. It's if you're attacking, it's like almost an auto include to bring the pregame barrage, because it, if you're playing someone that knows what they're doing, they're not going to try to bring something in, 2 things in. It's like, okay, I brought in one squad, and then I can't get the second squad through the pregame. They're not going to put that squad in a spot where it can get hammered by everything in your army. So they're going to hide it. It's going to be irrelevant for a while. So you're going to have some time to get up there and establish your base of fire and start moving up. And so I would say that's my favorite. What about yours, Greg? Do you have a favorite off-table asset that's in chain of command?
I'm with you with the pregame barrage, but mostly I would have to look at what nation I'm playing. So like the Soviet, if you're doing the pregame barrage, now that's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's a 50-50
but
shot to bring stuff on the table. Where anybody else it's 5s or 6s, So I don't use if I have extra points, and I'll throw the barrage, and if I'm looking to see like, okay, depending on the mission, um if that's going to help me, if I'm the attacker, that's going to help me, or if looking at whatever type of defense I'm going to put together, if I could get all set up before the attack comes, and if I could delay your attack, then I'll be ready for anything you come. So I mean, there's different schools of thought on that. I will tell you the one I don't like, and that's the freaking off-table mortar. My buddy Slat, I love him. We play all the time, and I'm telling you, he has taught me some serious lessons. I got all my Joes all bunched. We're bunched up. We're good defense, and all of a sudden he goes, "All right, FO coming on the table," and it's like, "Ah, Jesus!" And then we don't even play the ranging rules. We just bypass that shit because the odds are better for you, especially if you're going to throw it somewhere across the table. and your guys aren't close, you just go fire for effect. And if it
Okay.
shifts, it's easier. It's one less turn, really, if you think about it. You could just shift it 6 inches, whatever way you want, based off your die roll. So it's already on the table and it's already causing havoc. And I was just like, oh my God, here we go again, man. What? And then, and then you try to build up chain dice to like stop the barrage. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
It's,
one I just dread. And I was like, okay, but it
we've
makes,
made some house rules for that to kind of lessen it. We've said um, the senior leader cannot he can't activate the FO to bring it in. So, because before when we first started playing it, we'd call it in, and then he'd just park the senior leader next to the FO, and every single phase, those 4 dice are raining down on every unit. So
yeah,
we made a house rule that said, okay, you can only, the barrage remains, the pinning, the blocking line of sight aspect of it, but the 4 dice that you get for the mortar rounds landing only come in when, or you can only shift it if you roll a 1. So that toned it down quite, and really, I think we really haven't brought it much since we did that.
yeah,
I think it's still really good. I think what we were when we first started hitting on it, we were both figuring out that when you're attacking, that it was really a difficult to attack, and that was the first strategy we really came up with that was effective for launching an attack, was to come in behind that barrage, either shooting it or even just laying the smoke and being able to move your units up. And from there, we started, seeing how good it was and how versatile it was. We started taking it on defense also. And pretty soon it was like, well, this is all we're doing. And we kind of,
Right.
we nerfed it a little bit. And then it was kind of a gentleman's agreement of let's just play around and figure out other ways of pushing an attack forward, because this is
Right.
getting monotonous.
yeah.
But it's
Well,
another one of the things in Chain of Command. It could do nothing. I mean, you could roll a 666 on the first phase, and after you call it in, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
it's
Well,
not
you guys
overpowering.
know me. You guys know me. I'm a purist to the rules, and if you're
Right.
getting your ass handed to you, then so be it. But a chain of command, though, then the game's over. Then and I guarantee, if you play the same scenario with the same guys and the same support, it's going to be a different game.
Yeah.
It's just the crappy die rolls sometimes you have, but you know, but you already get pre-warned, because hey, my FO's on the table. You're like, oh shit, okay. Hopefully, you're able to roll well enough on when your phase comes up, that I can start adjusting, start spreading it out, because then you figure out, okay, here's an 18-inch spread for late war, or I think it's a 9-inch spread for the Blitzkrieg guys. But
Some of them, yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, we just eat it. Just eat it, because to be honest with you, we love challenges, and especially my oldest son Dan. Oh my God, he could be down to command level 3 or 4, and somehow he'll pull a victory out. And it's like, okay, here's what we're doing, but so we play pretty ruthless. We just go, we just go. um, which adds the challenge. Okay, how do I get out of this mess? Or you start thinking, next game, how do I prevent this mess? So
Yeah.
I just like to stick to that, because then, for me personally, you start modifying one part of the rule, then it's like it's change something else, and then I think the true nature behind the mechanic kind of gets diluted.
Yeah, it is kind of a slippery slope when you start doing that.
Yeah,
But whatever, we've gone
yeah,
down the slope. It's too late for us.
yeah.
So, let's see. We got other questions here. Let's see here. Where were we? So Simon asked me my favorite army and unit. Um, That's a hard question. I mean, we play so many armies. I think I have like, I don't know. I've got over probably 25 different armies. Just off the top of my head,
For what game?
yeah, he didn't say, just in general.
Yeah, I mean, you start breaking out your sharps
I do like
practice.
the Cyclops. I like the Cyclops in Erewhon, Polyphemus. He's pretty epic. So I'll go with him for now, just because I don't. It's too many other things. So we got a question for Andre here. Does Andre play any board games, hex games, and counters?
Not so much anymore. In high school, yeah, gazillion years ago, before computers, was into a lot of that. Had a group of friends down in before I lived in Sacramento that I'd get together with. They lived next door to my aunt's house, and we'd play a lot of those type of games. I honestly don't even remember all the different names, but the usual suspects. We played a little bit of Patrol, but most of it was larger platoons level gaming. Really enjoyed that, and yeah, just not something really stuck with or got into again since. But yeah, back in the day, a whole lot of that.
Okay. Sorry, is that any better with the focus?
No.
I don't know what's going on here. Every time it's like a new problem, man. Every time. Well, anyway, we pressed on.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Andre, what's your favorite theater for World War II gaming?
I'm actually going to say Pacific. It's not a place we go a lot, which might be part of the reason. Playing the U.S. Marines with their, different squad setup is kind of cool. And I don't know. It's just, I think strategically, it's a lot more, getting in close, getting in, doing the hand to hand. And, it's not so much long range shooting and worrying about, the heavy support. It's just getting in there, getting personal, and just trying to, find an advantage and roll with it. And not really no particular reason why that appeals to me so much, but I'd say just strategically it works well for me, and it could just be because we don't play it as much. It's always kind of a kick when we wind up down there.
Yeah, you don't have to have a reason. It's just you just like the way it looks, like the way it plays. Yeah,
like the feel of it.
The feel of it. So let's see. We got who's that? Draco. Good evening, gentlemen. I love to see some pony wars and Mexican USA war. Yeah. I mean, I have thought about doing that before, but it's
You could
you got to
easily
have the
do that
army
with
for
sharp
it.
practice.
Sharp practice. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
use sharp practice for it. No problem. It's just you have to have the minis, and it takes time and money to collect these things. So, and it's slow going. So eventually, yes. I live to be 85 years old. We'll get to the Mexican American War eventually. Wardrobe is here. Hello, Wardrobe. Let's see here. Jessica said, "Where's the second road building video?" That's the only video series I've never followed through on. Andre and I made that video on how to make roads, and I was supposed to do a part 2. Well, we lost the road for like 6 months, and then I think I had it here the whole time or something. But we found it, so I do have it, so I can and I will do the second part of it a year later. But we will follow through on it. Let's see here. Did any of you ever play Advanced Squad Leader? I've never played that, but it is something that I've always thought looked cool, and I would love to know how to play. But yeah, I've never tried it. You guys ever played that? Like a hex encounter game?
Yep. I had a buddy when I was active duty in Colorado. My buddy Tom. Surprisingly enough, he did board games, and he moved. He converted the hex stuff into miniatures, the micro armor, and it
That'd
was
be cool.
really neat. It was a lot of counters still, and working with that, I thought it was pretty neat. At that point in time, I was straight up American Civil War, grand tactical type stuff, and so that was kind of up my alley, but not. I wasn't really a 20th century gamer, so to speak. And then my buddy Slat, I think he played quite a bit. Um, but as time evolves, you some gamers just move away from board games and get into tabletop gaming. So
Yeah, so yeah, Wardrobe's a big hex encounter guy. So he has a website. What's your YouTube channel called? I forgot what it was, but he put a lot of hex encounter stuff on his channel. Something I've thought about and I would love to try, but again, it's just our brains are so full of rules that
Some of us.
oh
for me, for sure.
here's an announcement for you, especially for Andre. He just said he likes the Pacific. So if you're not a subscriber to the Two Fat Lardies channel, they just announced on Christmas Day they're doing a big Pacific thing. So you go
Yeah.
ahead and subscribe to that, and it'll pop up, and it looks pretty cool. So I saw that today, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I know Big Rich has been talking about doing some sort of maybe pint science campaign for the Pacific. So this may be something, you know,
No, they're
maybe coming
making
up.
a supplement like the 1940 Blitzkrieg, but for the
Oh,
Pacific. Yeah,
oh,
so,
okay, that's even better.
yeah, that'll be really cool.
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see all the damn Marine.
Well, they're doing everything. They're gonna have like Belgians or Dutch in the Pacific. I mean, they're
Oh
gonna go
boy,
all in on the history of it. So
yeah,
they're probably gonna have a lot of really obscure, like, oh, here's my Dutch Pacific Army. Who has one
yeah,
of those?
yeah. Or what are those
So,
native guys? The code, not the code talkers, but there are some native support for the Allies. I can't think of.
oh yeah, all the like the Papua New Guineans
There
and
you go. Yeah,
all those. Yeah, all there's a lot of them on all those islands.
yeah,
A lot of those guys contributed to both sides, really.
yeah.
Let's see here.
When my buddy Slat, when we play Five Men from Curse, there's a modification that we did for the Pacific, and he has a lot of Papua New Guinea guys supporting that type of game.
There's so Wardrobe's channels. Wardrobe plays World War II. So if you like to watch hex encounter games, go check out his channel. Let's see here. What is the future of? What does this say? Future games plans. Well, we're going to cover that in a New Year's version of this, but yeah, we're going to do some new games. I think we'll stick with the old games too, because that's what a lot of our subscribers are here for those. But we think that we could add games, bring new subscribers in, and turn our old subscribers, maybe get them in on some new games as well as ourselves. New periods. Like I said at the beginning of this, we're missing 1,800 years of history in our armies. There's a big gap that we need to fill.
Pirates.
So pirates, medieval Vikings, that
There you
whole
go.
period, we don't have anything in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will go into a little bit more in depth in that in a live stream at the beginning of next year.
What's crazy is that if you ever get into any of those periods, especially like the Dark Ages, Vikings, any of that stuff, Victrix has just blew up the market in the last year and a half, 2 years of all that stuff. And you could buy one bag. What the have one here. One bag, like 65 figures. You're like, holy cow, this is enough for a whole
bag.
Yeah. Victrix, I don't know if you ever bought their stuff. They come in a plastic bag with a cardboard cover top thing. And what's crazy, the only instructions you get is on the back, and they tell you, body A goes to whatever. I don't know if you ever seen on Tabletop, the guys from Ireland, and
Yeah.
they always talk about the Victrix. It goes, this is classic Victrix when they do like an unboxing or packaging. Here's all their stuff on the back of the cardboard thing that closes up the top of the bag, because it's a giant. I bought a couple of those bags because I'm doing the supplement for Lion Rampart, a Viking in the Sun. So I need a lot of Byzantines, some Vikings. I need later Vikings and things like that. And you start doing all these other type of armies, and it's like you get this big ass bag, and you're like, okay, I could do a couple armies, or I could multi-use these guys and swap out maybe the standard bearer or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, it's incredible in this time right now that we're all living in, um, for stuff like that, because plastic has just exploded and along
Oh
with
yeah,
maybe
there's no shortage of
no.
that time period minis. That's for sure.
And
They're
and I think
everywhere.
someone just asked a question like, where do you get Dutch uh, Pacific dudes? And that's probably, you can probably even kit bash some British
Yeah,
8th Army, and then you figure out what type of headgear they're wearing.
yeah, I don't know if anyone makes specific Dutch in the jungle miniatures, but I'm
Yeah,
sure that they're very similar enough to other minis that you could build them
yeah,
yourself.
little kit bashing.
Tyson said they should include the 101st that jumped into the Pacific. They probably will. I mean, they're going to have a lot of stuff in there. So let's see here. Do you guys consider 172 scale undermine for wargaming? No, not at all. If you mean by undermine too small, or no, that's a great scale. I wish we would have played in that scale a little bit more, but most of our stuff's in 28 now. So
Yeah. Before I moved to Tucson in 2002, up until then, I had nothing but 15 millimeter, which is similar to 172nd scale. And I mean, I got thousands of figures for several periods. And I was content. My boys who game when they were little were content. I run games, even like my infamous Blue Max game, my World War I aerial combat game. All the planes are 172nd scale models, which I probably have about just shy of 300 model planes. I love building models, but when I come here, you kind of follow the groove of the club and the people that you're gaming with, and everybody's gaming in 28s, and it's like, oh, this is different, so.
have we thought about playing Vietnam? Yeah, I think that would be super cool to play a Vietnam game. I can see Andre being the Viet Cong and just sneaking around and popping out of the ground.
Wearing his hat.
You really want to play a game where you never see any of my figures? You don't even need to paint my army up. You'll never see them.
Until it's too late, right? Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah, it'd be cool though. Having huge, helicopters in games would be a totally different dynamic. How would you? I mean, the helicopter could just hover there and just blast away
until I shoot it down.
Until you shoot it down.
Yeah. There's that one guy. I think Gregory Ward, I believe, or Wargaming World or whatever.
Wargaming World, yep.
Yeah, he's done several different Vietnam era rule sets between the 2-hour war games. I think he's done the Charlie Don't Surf and a couple other ones. I think he's just starting a new campaign, as a matter of fact, on his channel. It's all Vietnam. He has super sweet looking terrain too.
Yeah, his stuff looks great.
Yeah.
So Andre's army is the terrain. Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. So
my style of play.
Yeah. Andre's a very cagey player, we'll say. He likes to take advantage of the terrain. I mean, if there's an inch gap, he'll use it. I'm going to fire through this gap, and I can see that guy right there. It's like, oh,
yeah, it's the Gimbo gap.
Yeah. All right, so we're at 1 hour basically right now, and I'm out of focus. I'll have to get that fixed. But
You're actually in focus now.
oh, really? I think it must be my Wi-Fi is probably having a
Yeah,
weak signal.
the person that was hacking into your system jumped off.
Yeah, they're hacking into my Wi-Fi network. Nerd Cave 1.
Yeah.
They figured out my password somehow. So let's see if there's any last questions here. See, Robert's here. He said, GM did a Vietnam war game like D&D. He laid out the jungle as we walked the paths, got sniper from spider holes. So yeah, that we before you got here, Robert, we were talking about having GMs or umpires in games and how that really can improve the game experience, and definitely something like a Vietnam War where you don't know where the Viet Cong are going to pop out of. Here's a spider hole, here's a tunnel network, and yeah, that would be really cool.
I think a Vietnam game. So the very first time I played one of those was my other gaming buddy here. His name's Aerofan, and he writes a lot of his own rules. And he's a computer developer designer, so he writes code that spits out the results and stuff like that. But anyways, he runs this Vietnam game where it's co-op. We're all running a fire team of Marines or whoever, and then you got Charlie popping out of the woodwork constantly. It's like nonstop. You're on a mission to go from point A to point B, and he's running as the GM guy. He's running the Viet Cong and any other special weird stuff that might be popping up and stuff like that. But I think that's another one of those games. Like, who really wants to play the Viet Cong? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of sneaking and stealth
That's
involved.
Andre's bag right there. He would love
There
that.
you go.
He would love to be
I'm your sneaker.
He would love to be the Viet Cong.
Charlie don't surf. Just saw that movie the other day.
So Tyson said Spectre does cover Vietnam. Yeah, Spectre can cover anything. We played World War II Spectre before. The rules themselves can be used anywhere. You just have to, match the weapons and stuff to the period that you're playing.
Right.
Let's see. What is Greg's favorite period to play? Asked Eagle Sham. I know what the answer. Viking or the Pirates, right?
Yes, sir. I love me some pirate gaming, and it's not necessarily dialed into one rule system as of late. When I first discovered Blood and Plunder from Firelight Games several years ago, I was like, oh my god, this is like the rule system. And I've played close to 24 different pirate like rule systems, and it seems like a lot of those game systems just don't flow very well between land and sea, or even a combination of both. Where Firelight Games, the Blood and Plunder system is incredible, and so I love that. And then we also kind of this last month I did the big B-Day pirate game that I run every year, 13th annual game, and we end up doing Pope Alley, and so you could, and it was
Pirates?
essentially, yeah, all pirates. It was a big pirate. I posted on the page and stuff, and and it was everything from historical pirates. So we had like Blackbeard out there to, you know, uh, Jack Sparrow to Long John Silver. So you had some historical, non-historical Hollywood pirates. You just, and Pope Alley lets you do that too. That's another plug for Pope Alley. But yeah,
Yeah.
pirates is good. I love building. I'm a model builder before.
Maybe that's something me and Andre should get into, is the Pirates.
I tell you what, man,
Cool.
if you guys are serious, we we'll dial in when we're gonna make the Mecca trip to Northern California, and we'll bring a bunch of stuff, and we'll do a pirate weekend. I even got a pirate hat for Andre if he wants one, and a patch and a hook and all that shit,
Yeah, he'll go for it.
Yeah, there you
So-
go.
Yeah,
It's got to be a warm hat this time of year.
Yeah,
a wool pirate hat.
yeah, you get little flurries on the top, little fuzzies or whatever. But it's a fun game, and to be honest with you, that tone will probably change throughout the year, but for the most part, definitely love some pirate gaming. There's so much you can do, and I think what drives me to that is the excellent set of rules, because we've done some what do they call that? Where we're coming in from the sea. We'll have a bunch of natives coming in on a bunch of canoas, hitting the Dutch on their little outposts, from the sea, fighting onto the land and so forth, or a couple of brigantines in the ocean to just a straight up land battle. Go kidnap the governor's daughter or whatever. But yeah, definitely a lot of room for narrative, and you watch all these crazy pirate movies, like, oh, that's a game right there.
The ship fighting would be awesome, I think.
It is, and it's so simplistic. I mean, some of these people that write rules for naval gaming is like, you know what? I think I've been on a boat twice when I went to Catalina Island and back years ago for Boy Scout summer camp, back in the 70s. And that's my experience on a boat, And so, but when you see some of these rules, okay, you got to go 2 degrees north into the wind, it's like,
You need a protractor.
yeah. Yeah. But,
Protractor and a slide rule to play some of these naval games.
yeah, you're figuring out. It's like, which way the wind's blowing? Shit. Now we're stuck, But Blood and Plunder definitely, and I'm not trying to, plug them. Yeah, I am. But it's a really good system, and the way they're slowly chugging through the pirate stuff, and I think what really captured me that is like we were talking about before we started live is we don't, for me personally, I don't play enough American stuff, whether it be American War of Independence, American Civil War, French and Indian War, Mexican American War. But, like the Pirates that the Firelight Games has done is all in the Americas. So we're covering everything from South America into North America, into part of Canada and what have you. So, which is cool. I mean, which is, so playing the pirate game is definitely fun. Collecting the ships, building the ships, and putting them out there, and what have you. When I build a ship, it's like, oh, we're playing a game. We're going to be using that damn thing in a game somewhere.
Yeah, and the ships are big, right? They're not little 1 to 1200 scale or whatever it is.
No, well, you figure it's kind of 128 scale. I'm sure these things aren't exactly 128 scale or 156, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of boats, and if you're talking pirate type stuff, majority of their ships were sloops, if not smaller. These guys are coming off the coast, raiding something coming into the channel. It's when you start getting to the big dogs like Blackbeard, who has like a fleet of 3 or 4 or 5 ships or whatever, or Hornigold with his massive fleet. Then you're a little bit bigger ship. But I think the biggest ship that the game yields is maybe the 6-rate frigate or the galleon. And that galleon that I 3D printed, and it's still sitting out there, is roughly about 18 to 20 inches long, and that's pretty big. That's
a big boat.
Yeah, so it's going to go 12 inches, probably a little bit longer out right there. So cool. Definitely, yeah, those are big, and
need the airbrush for that.
Yeah, unless your opponent has a similar boat, or you're a whole bunch of natives with canoas are going to come raid that ship, coming through the channel in the islands or something like that. But
probably got a lot of cannons on it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but then you could like every other kind of rule system, there's points involved. You've got to buy cannons. If you're going to play a 250 game, right, 250 point game, just like in bolt action, okay, what am I going to buy? And then you got to buy the crews to man the guns, because there's certain light, medium, heavy has different amount of figures that has to be able to reload that damn thing, because reloading is a little bit drawn out process. Unless you got a really good sailing captain or a gunner's mate or gun master or something like that character. But what I normally do when people come over, I kind of eliminate all the thinking, all the calculations. I just do it and kind of balance it out within a point or two. Just like when you put those bolt action games, it goes, hey, this guy is 250, and then Andre has 249 points. So you just trying to make it somewhat kind of even, and of course the scenario and the objective is going to drive all that too. So
cool. Well, yeah, I knew that would be the answer to that question, but So now let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures that we got from our Facebook group. So again, these things are all out of order, I think. My icons that I'm looking at here in this program are very small. I tried to put them in order, but we shall see. So these are just from Facebook group members, stuff that they've been working on. So Tyler, he's doing a big orc army. So he sent me like 500 pictures. I picked like 3. I told him I can't dedicate the entire show to him. So I picked a few pictures out to show his orcs off. So yeah, he's building a lot of this stuff he did. You know, he scratch built a lot of his own like siege weapons and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff. And he's got tons. So he's building for Warhammer. So and there's a picture of him there. He always strikes that goofy pose everywhere he goes. Yeah, he's a radio guy. So that's his. So we looked at Greg's stuff. So let's continue on here. So Ken, the eccentric man. Baldock, he's working. These are for, I believe he said, Lion Rampant. So he's building for that as well, which is cool.
Yeah, mounted is 6 figures. So, and then
those that's what I like about that game. It's it's strength point based. So like you could have 10 guys, or you can have one big guy, and it's the same amount of hit points.
Yeah,
and it's just all you can just design it however you want. So. Yeah, so Ken's been working on those. I forgot he's 35 points, but he's been building up to Lion Rampant Army.
Yeah, that's a Knights Templar unit. Yeah. No, not the Templars. Oh my God, shoot me in the head. Hospitallers.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Again, I don't know that period of
history. Yeah, because I have a Hospitaller army. That's really neat.
Okay, and Pau Vela here, he is building. Yeah, Iberian. So he's from Spain. So yeah. He's building the Iberians, and from our short time in Infamy, we learned to love the Iberians. They were very good in that game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, did they ever come up with the Spanish supplement?
I don't think so. I haven't seen a supplement for that game that I know of.
Yeah, I thought they talked about the Spanish guys because there's a whole lot in there.
Yeah, they're good. They're good in that game. So very good Iberians there. Then Alex, our buddy from Storm of Steel, he's working on a T-34 135 scale. So he's just building 135 scale tanks just for fun. Like old school building, just building the display model, no gaming purpose. But I think he did all this with a brush, no airbrush. So hairspray method, it looks like to me. Yeah, great job on that winter camo. Love the winter tanks. They're like anything winter to me is really cool. We got our buddy General Jim Bob. These guys are just knights. Kind of maybe fantasy, look like fantasy knights to me.
They look more they're Renaissance.
Renaissance?
Yeah, from Renaissance period, like the Italian Wars, you could tell by the type of helmets. They're more decorative and probably like fraternities and stuff like that. But you could, unless you're using for fantasy, but these look like Renaissance type period.
Yeah, I know he plays Erdogan, so that he's probably using them for that. So then our good friend Jordan is doing let's look at this one first. He's building some Soviets, so he's got a KV-2 here. And bolt action, this thing is amazing if it can hit. But yeah, this is really good. That's not hand painted, I hope. That word, is that a decal? That looks
hand painted.
Well, either way, it's really good. If it's hand painted, it's amazing. If it's a decal, it's done very well as well because you can't tell. So it's like a little diorama. This guy's giving her flowers up on top, trying to win her over. Is he trying to get her down in there?
I think there's 2 women.
Oh, is it?
Whatever. Like, yeah, probably from and the dice bag lady. She has all them winter or Soviet tankers because I have one on my my big ass tanks. Yeah.
So Brendan O'Connor, he is working on World War I French infantry. These look super cool. The blue, I always like that World War I French uniform. It's very different. It's kind of like the end of an era, the last time that anyone wore any kind of color. Of course, I don't know if they were that blue, but like myself, I like to make things brighter on the models than they probably were in real life, just because when they're that small, you need a little contrast. You need them to pop a little bit. So I like the lighter blue color like that. So those are really good. He's doing some World War I French. What do we got next? Matt Harvey is building a 6mm German, for maybe both. These are Germans, so 6mm. I mean, that's what is that? 4 times smaller than the stuff we play with. I mean, it's super tiny. I mean, wait. Okay, this is where. There we go. Yeah, so these are that's the infantry. I mean, they're like. I mean, each guy is like that big, like the grain of rice. They're tiny, but I mean, you can see the faces, and I mean, he did a good job. Trying to get detail on these is very difficult, but they look really good. So next up, we got here. Did we forget anybody? So Ronald Stokes is building. I can't. Oh, these are I think Hungarians. He said. Isn't that a Nimrod or whatever it is? That AA tank that the Hungarians have. So yeah, that's super cool.
God, I still got to build mine from that Dog Tag Miniatures Kickstarter.
Any kind of AA tank I love.
Yeah,
they're just
those
cool.
are really neat.
Let's see here what we got.
That should be your new army, Andre, a Hungarian army.
There you go.
That actually could be a thing. I'm actually a quarter Hungarian.
I remember you mentioned that before.
My grandmother came over from the old country.
There we go. Andre, you can paint yourself a Hungarian army this time. So David is made. He's working on. These are those Pulp Mini command blister with the kilts, which these are awesome. I have some of these, and he's doing a great job with the tartan there, because that's very hard to paint. I'm hoping I didn't forget anybody. I think we did that one. I hope these things aren't moving around on me on top of. Or do I have the same one twice? Oh, that's what it is. I have the same one twice. So we got Mark here. He's Winter Germans. Amazing. Anything winter I love. You did a great job on these. They got the nice frost on them. Got some good snow effects going there. Moving on, we got Joe. I think he said these were Italian airborne troops.
Oh, yeah.
So he always does a really good job on his stuff. It always looks super cool. Very arid, like Crete, maybe, or North Africa, Italy, that Mediterranean. Let's just say that. Yeah, great job on those. Looks like I got a lot of SMGs in that unit. Be a great veteran unit. And then Evan is building. I think this is this one's. So he's working on some Winter Germans as well. He's got his Opel Blitz there, some guys. And then he sent these things in. So I don't know what that tank is.
That's the Wonder Weapon.
But that thing is enormous. I mean, there's another picture of it I have here. Look at that thing. I mean, you could. What is it, like armor like 25? How would you even?
Yeah, I think it was a paper tank for the Germans.
Was that actually a thing that they were designing it? I wouldn't be surprised if they did think of.
Yeah, it's one of the Hitler's Wonder Weapons.
I don't see it lasting long. I mean, air strikes just galore on it until it was just destroyed. There's no way it would last. I mean, you could hit that thing from like a B-17. It would even need to be like a P-47.
Yeah.
You could bring like EM bombers, heavy bombers, and just destroy it. But on the tabletop, I mean, what are you going to do? There's no way. Look at the little tanks next to it. It's like pretty epic. Like something that you see out of 40K. So Craig, he has finished his
Kriegsmarine.
Yes. Kriegsmarine squad. So these guys are cool. Got a little bit of urban basing on them. I have a squad of these guys too. They're really cool models. Then Robert Dalrymple is building a rocket launcher.
Is that the Werfer?
The Nebelwerfer, and he's got Werfers nebbling out of it, which is pretty cool. I like that.
Something out of
very cool.
Yeah.
And then John, he's I forgot what he said these guys were.
Well, could be French.
Says Star Trek in the box in the background.
There you go, Andre. Let's see here.
It's the start, the red shirts. So Gabriel looks like SAS guys or paratroopers, British Airborne. They're very popular build for a lot of people with their Jeeps and everything. Super cool force to veterans, probably stubborn and everything else in protection. Let's see here. So Ed is building some. That is a Comet, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I think so.
It's a British tank with like a 17-pounder, isn't it? Just a 17-pounder and a Cromwell body or something like that.
Yeah.
With some extra armor, but that's super cool. We've got the markings. British markings are always very difficult. And he's always looking. It looks like he's also building some red coats as well for American War of Independence, which I always like to see that. Johnny, our buddy here, he's working on 15 mil. I'm supposed to build some 15 mil stuff myself so we can start playing the Fire and Fury Regimental, I think it is. So he's like already halfway done. I haven't even ordered anything yet. So I want to. That's one of the things in the new year I want to do is start gaming bigger games, smaller scale. And then lastly, we got our buddy Tyson sent us his assault on the North Pole. I don't know, was that his mom's house? Was that your mom's house where you assaulted her Christmas village?
Yeah. Those elves are going to come out. I think they're cannibals.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're meat eaters. So that's it. So if I forgot anybody, it's kind of the process for me getting the pictures from the Facebook to here is kind of an arduous process. So if I forgot anybody or I mislabeled your name on your picture, I apologize. I really need to start asking for these pictures before the day of the thing. So he said it was his mother-in-law's house. So he's taking out his mother-in-law's Christmas village. A tribute to the Battle of the Bulge. We'll be there tomorrow. That was indeed a comment. Good. So anyway, so that's it. Like I said, there was no topic, just whatever came up. We had some good questions though. Thanks to everyone who chimed in with some questions. Saved us from trying to have to come up with something to talk about. So that was really good. Thanks to Andre and to Greg for stopping by. We'll do more of these, and next time we'll have a topic, and there'll be some structure to it. But I didn't really have anything planned for tonight because we're playing tomorrow, and we haven't done one of these for a while. So I thought, what the heck, let's just get on here and BS a little bit. So I'm sorry about it being blurry. I'm not sure if that's my my Wi-Fi might be weak or something. That's the first time I've heard that I've been blurry is tonight. So it's something that doesn't happen all the time.
You're more in focus in person.
Yeah, maybe that's just how I look in real life. I'm just blurry.
I hope so. Yeah.
And Andre doesn't even drink.
Yeah. The games are blurry.
The problem.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's going to do it, you guys. So we'll go ahead and call it now. So again, thanks to everyone who chimed in, visited, and thanks to these two guys for stopping by. And let us know what you think, aside from the blurriness, maybe the topics that you might want to see us talk about sometime. I would like to make this kind of a regular thing, maybe a once a month thing where we have a topic that we go over, and there's some structure to it, put a little thought into it. So just throwing it out there, although we'll still maybe do that from time to time as well. So yeah, that'll do it. Thanks guys for watching. We are going to go ahead and sign off, and we will see you next time.